Like we are live, but in theory it always takes like a few seconds because it's exactly. So I guess it will go till 1 a.m. Let's do it an hour. Okay. So you know I uh, let's see. While you are writing the announcement, which is taking so long for some reason, like really long. Uh, yeah, let's start with the greetings here, shall we? So, welcome to the FG Eurocast. As you might have seen, it's a bit late, and that's because Austria wanted to keep fighting, so it went a bit longer than it was supposed to. But yes, yeah. I really like that the only goal they managed to do was in offside. Just another victim. Yeah, either way. Either way. Well, Belgium is a strong team. Anyways, let's get back to what this Eurocast is supposed to be. It's not saying something, not seeing any audio from here on Twitch. Okay. Uh, can you talk a bit for a sec? Ah, okay. Hmm.
Usually they do it on the weekends. They do it on the Fridays, and then they trickle in on a Saturday as well.
Wait. First of
For
all, let me
yeah.
thank my dear friends here watching us on Twitch because
You can't.
if it wasn't
Okay.
for
Yeah.
him, the recording would have not had your voice, which now it's working. So
Oh, thanks very much. He hedonic treadmill.
Yes.
That's very nice of you to let us know.
You saved the the
You
podcast.
say you saved the recording. Hello, everyone. You know,
Yes.
you just heard Dante talking to himself for like half an hour already, and
Pretty much. So,
oh
what is
gosh, great.
this podcast about? Leaving aside
So
that
this,
we said we were going to talk about something last week and then we forgot what it was, so maybe next time.
do you remember what it was?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
We will pick this up later. I will have to listen to the conversation at the end of the show again because that's completely slipped my mind,
Yeah.
and yours. So anyway, this week's topic is the EUCO and the Euro, right? So we've had the European Council, which has been on the 24th and 25th. Usually it's on a Friday and a Saturday because on Friday they get all the drama done, and then on Saturday they do the actual decisions, you know.
Yes.
And another important thing, that happened there this week, basically, is because of the Hungarian laws against gay propaganda in schools,
Yeah. Orban has
which has
been
been just
bullied.
been signed, by the way. Wonderful law.
Bullying has happened in the European Council. People have gone there and bullied Orban. It was really awful.
Yeah, they really led into him, and it was really nice to watch. I mean, because it's in camera, their mobile phones get taken. You know, the leaders' mobile phones get taken, and they go into a thing, and you only hear secondhand accounts, right? You hear from either the official spokesperson, or you hear from the journalists who are getting like the inside scoop from like leaders leaders' aides and stuff like that. And it was clear right off the bat that the Benelux countries, so that's mostly the Netherlands and Luxembourg, were really not happy with Hungary taking yet another liberty with the laws of the European Union. And particularly Xavier Bettel, the Prime Minister of Luxembourg, who is also gay and married, by the way. He had some really choice things to say to Orban, whereas the Dutch Prime Minister basically asked him if he wouldn't consider triggering Article 50, which shows you how incredible, what an incredible time this was. It kind of slipped under the radar for most people, I think, this EUCO, because holidays are coming up and tests are there, things are happening at home and at work.
But
But this was actually really significant, I think, to watch, the Benelux countries lose their cool like that. And I presume that, if this continues, if these actions by the Hungarian government continue, that the Benelux will take steps,
so
either in the European court,
this is
or they will,
where we can
tell Italy not to give them any more money.
this
Yeah.
is where we can say fuck you to Germany as well, because I don't know if you know this, but when they played the game with Hungary,
Yeah.
the stadium was supposed to be in the pride colors, the rainbow, and
Yeah.
they made them not
Mm.
because Hungary said they didn't like it,
Yeah.
and the Germans complied. So
Yeah.
fuck Germany.
Yeah, but they complied because they're Germans, right? That's just the way that it's baked into them, isn't that right?
Well, I mean,
Diplomatic gentlemen, right? Eh? I see one of our
UEFA
users over
told
there.
Germany to comply, and the thing is, I don't know, it's a bit
Yeah.
complicated
Oh,
there. But it's
mm,
not the nice thing is that the German fans,
mm.
so they all were wearing pride stuff just to spite the Hungarians. So
Yeah, exactly.
you know, that's nice.
Just to make sure, and of course, I mean, we've all seen the posters on the interwebs, posters of Hungary's prime minister in gay colors, Hungary in gay colors. People are actually starting to protest in Hungary as well. It's starting to kind of sink in the opposition anyway. That this is a rallying point for everyone.
Even Italy
Um,
managed to raise its
yeah,
voice against Hungary.
exactly. Draghi was a very explicit. He said, "You used to be a liberal," to Orban. What happened to you? You know, and Macron as well. I mean, he
We
was
signed
also
a letter, like
yeah,
a declaration.
yeah,
It was Italy, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Italy.
mm,
I think it was like a group of
yeah.
8 or 9, something like that.
Oh yeah, I
Quite a
see.
few countries, or
We're
maybe even more. I think it was.
one of our listeners, by the way, said they've already protested last weekend. EU is catching up delayed. No, no, it's not the EU. It's just me. I'm the slow one. Andrew said that.
Well,
Um,
to be fair, this is a developing story,
yeah,
and
exactly. To us, it's a developing story anyway. But there's been massive protests this week, and in the European Council, and it was really kind of, everything got pushed to the background. Turkey relations, which they came to quite an interesting conclusion. Russia relations have been pushed back. After, it was really funny because Merkel and Macron had this grand plan to kind of
and
push
Italy.
push a little bit more
I
talking with Putin,
Yeah, it
and
was
that
like
completely failed. Yeah, exactly. It completely failed because it was overshadowed mostly by the Hungarian affair, as it were.
yes, but on the other,
Yeah.
I think it's important. Like, it's a bit weird, but
Mm,
like the usual story when it comes to the EU is when Germany and France, and this time it was Italy as well. Like those three,
mm,
they were together, decided on something, and
yeah,
usually it goes like if they agree, then the rest just does what they say because
yeah,
it feels like it's just those two three countries that decide for everyone, while
mm,
it it's not true. The truth is it's always a bit more complicated, and we saw
yeah,
this time that even if they agreed on having a different stance on Russia, that didn't really happen.
mm,
So the EU does give voice to every member state. Then
mm,
sometimes some member states might decide to uh, not use their voice as much,
yeah,
or just leave it up to Germany and not have to deal with everything that comes from being. If you speak and something goes wrong, people can blame you. If you don't do
yeah,
anything, they can just blame Germany. And
exactly.
if
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Germany is saying is what you agree on, you can just not say nothing, and you're getting what
yeah,
you want
yeah, yeah,
without
exactly.
any
Yeah,
consequence. So
yeah.
it's but so it's easy to think that it might be just Germany or just France or whatever that
Mm,
decides everything, but it's not
yeah.
really like that.
No, 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 not at all. I mean, you could see it, I mean, with the budget negotiations as well, you had the Frugal Four who managed to almost stop the budget, until Germany started pushing. And they came up with a compromise, to use both, what was it, both own funds and funds guaranteed by the EU, as it were.
Yes.
Um, So, I mean, we've seen this before. Uh, these groups of countries stopping certain legislation. But in this case, it was basically all the countries, even Hungary, uh, Poland. Well, I shouldn't say even
Well,
Hungary and Poland were very much against it in
well,
principle because they still have the scars from the Cold War, and what Putin's doing at the moment is
well, it
very kind
depends.
of
If you say Poland, they have
yeah.
a negative stance against Russia, but
Yeah.
Hungary not really. I mean, Hungary is the only one
Yeah, okay,
not
yeah.
normal. So in
Well, it kind
the
it kind of
Sputnik one.
depends. I mean,
So
I think Hungary doesn't, but the Hungarians do. You know,
uh, yeah, but
like
what
do
they
you want the bad old days back? No, and look what Putin's doing. So I don't think many Hungarians agree with what Putin's doing, but Orban definitely is in Putin's pocket. We know that.
well, I don't know if they don't
From
agree
the
with what Putin is doing though. I think
yeah,
the thing is they don't like the Soviet Union, but
mm,
it's not like Putin is a socialist or communist or whatever.
mm,
So uh, they kind of like what Putin does to some degree,
mm.
especially when it comes to uh, the laws in Russia against LGBT people, for example.
Yeah,
So even if we know that there have been protests in Hungary, it's not like people there aren't like the vast majority of them have negative a negative opinion towards LGBT people compared to
yeah,
the West. So
yeah.
as I said, it's not like Hungarians are that far from
No, no,
what
no,
it
no,
does.
obviously not. I mean, we've got great Hungarian users here who contribute very much Inos and Drew's also very welcome. In our forum Gothenburg, of course, and in the EU as well. But you got this leader, has to go. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
um, I
Meanwhile,
think I
Poland is
think
a lot different. Poland
yeah,
has
yeah. Poland is
they
also very traditional, but it's very Catholic. It's a very much in the Catholic kind of
the thing is
proto tradition as well.
Poland wants to be a fascist state, but under Poland. I mean, it was kind already before World War II when it was divided by Germany and Russia.
Yeah,
It's not like Poland didn't have its own issues, but uh, the thing is, even now you can see in Poland, they it's not like they want a liberal society.
mm,
At least those in power don't want
yeah.
that. But that doesn't mean that they want to be like part of Russia's circle
Mm.
or whatever. They still hate Russia.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And
And
like Andrew said, it's mostly Poland and the Baltic states
yes,
that really have problems with rule. I
yeah,
mean,
within
um,
the EU, it's mostly
yeah,
those. Maybe Romania, I guess, but not really. They had more of
yeah,
a. I think Romania had more of a Romania issue, as far as I know.
mm,
Like when they had communism there, it
yeah,
was not as much about the Soviet Union, and but mm, Romanian communist
yeah. Oh, yeah.
ruling them.
Ceausescu was infamous, of course,
Yeah.
for what he did.
So it's not like,
Um,
I mean, obviously there was the Soviet influence
yeah.
there, but it was
But
different compared
Romania was
to.
well, yeah, Romania was just a robber baron state all on its own. If you talk about the Soviet Union,
Yeah, it was
and I
more.
think that also isolated Bulgaria in some ways.
Yes.
Um,
The thing
yeah,
is, the Baltics, see, they were literally under direct Soviet control,
mm,
and Poland, well, they made it to not exist for a while, so that
yeah,
that that leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
really want
exactly.
to, so they have
But
more reasons to.
it's interesting that Slovenia also, they've also got they got Janša as the PM, or as the PM. And he's also very pro Russia and anti EU cohesion, as it were. It's very interesting to see that both Orban and Janša want to abolish the European Parliament, for example. This is something that he stated this week, by the way. He said that he would like to um, abolish the European Parliament and make it solely about the leaders.
Which is
Which
very
I mean, coming
better.
from an authoritarian point of view, that is very that's changing the EU in such a way that a lot of things wouldn't be possible anymore. Trade agreements couldn't be ratified properly.
Yeah,
They
but
would have to be done by 27 states instead of something that you pass on to the EU. So there's definitely an illiberal streak going around in
yeah,
Europe,
but
and I
the
think
thing is, there is a big
no,
difference between what people say and what people
mm,
can actually do.
yeah,
So it's not like if you wanted to abolish the European Parliament,
yeah,
what you would need to do would be such a massive undertaking.
Mm.
The thing is, you would need each member state to agree on that, and
Yeah.
it would probably, and this is something that we would have to check, I guess, but I would imagine
Mm.
you would need to change the constitution of a few countries around the EU,
Yeah,
if not
exactly.
most of them.
I mean, in Orban's case, that doesn't really matter because I believe he changes the constitution under his rule 7 times already, something like that. So it's quite a lot, to be
Yeah,
honest.
but doesn't matter what he
Yeah,
does. It
yeah.
works.
I mean, obviously not in Hungary, you know, but
Like, the thing is, like, just get Spain to change its constitution. You know how hard
yeah,
that
yeah,
is.
yeah. I know some Catalonians who would be very happy with Spain starting to change its constitution. You know, so I don't think they're going to open up that,
So I'm
you
not
know,
going to
the
be
can of worms.
100% correct here because I'm not like an expert, but just
Yeah.
to give a rough estimation of how it works. Once in Spain to change their constitution, they need to
Mm,
find, I think, a two-third majority to
mhm,
approve the change, and then
mhm,
they have to kill the legislature, have new elections. The
mm.
new parliament has to agree on it again, and then they have a
Yeah.
referendum. I think that's, and I think you can imagine how hard that might be.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And
And
I
then
might
that
be,
times 26, you know. I mean,
yeah,
no, it's not
yeah,
going to happen.
exactly.
But I think what Orban is trying to do is he's trying to create a new illiberal wing after the Brexiteers have left, you know, because for the whole time the Brexiteers were the illiberal, the conservative government was in the ECR, right, and
Mm,
Brexit was ID basically, you know,
no, I don't think I like. I know what you mean,
and
but the thing
yeah,
is, the Brits, like the liberal Brits, like Brexit
yeah,
parties, whatever, they never really did anything in the EP. They really
mm,
weren't much involved. Like they didn't have a grand plan of uniting the liberal
mm,
parties around Europe or whatever. It was just
yeah,
we want to leave, and if you leave as well, that would be swell. That
yeah,
was their, and since they left, obviously they don't have anymore any power. But even before, it's not like they had such. It's not like they were a leader of a movement
mm,
or anything like that. And I think what Orban might want to do is something that we don't have too much, and that would be starting an illiberal, as you said. I think a movement of some degree.
exactly, yeah.
Obviously, we
Push
already have
people
the.
into a new way of thinking. I mean, he's trying to talk to people like Salvini as well, and Geert Wilders, and all these, Thierry Baudet from the Netherlands, all these kind of illiberal opportunists slash, far right parties to kind of get a block together. And the question, of course, is will he be able to succeed? I mean,
No.
um, I don't know. I mean, a government under Salvini, those elections are coming close mightily fast.
Yes, but
Of course, you know.
uh, the the thing is, when you go too much on the far right, it's really hard to make them work together.
Yeah, yeah. Andrews says as well. Imagine if Le Pen wins in France, for example. The AfD makes a good
Like
move in Germany.
they
You
can.
know, I'm not expecting that, by the way.
The
It's
thing
just a what
is,
if.
they can't really help, which is the reason why they haven't really. They tried it plenty of times, but never really succeeded.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, their ideology is based on the idea of your country first, whatever
Mm,
that means. And the thing is, it's really hard to have an alliance or whatever with other
mm.
countries when your whole ideologies they don't matter and you think only of
Yeah.
yourself. It's really
Yeah,
hard to
that's
get
true.
anything really done that way.
Yeah.
It is somewhat possible in some things, maybe, but even then, like let's
Yeah.
say something really easy. like migration.
Yeah, really easy.
But even then, like for
Yeah.
example, you would have Italy that, like, if Salvini was if it becomes the prime minister,
When he
he would
becomes prime
want
minister.
to close the borders and stuff, but we still would have immigrants coming here because they still come here.
Mm,
So he would want. The thing is, he has two choices. He either sides with the relocation of migrants around the EU, or he doesn't. But if he doesn't side with that and goes with Orban, for example, that doesn't want the relocation of migrants,
mm.
that really isn't Italy first, is it? It's not like what Italians want.
Yeah.
If you want to be far right, you don't want migrants in your country. You want them outside of your country. It works for Hungary to be, I don't want migrants, so I don't want relocation. But for Italy, it's
Mm,
literally the opposite. We don't want migrants, so we want the relocation. So, for
mm.
example, even there, it can be a bit a disconnect. Not like Salvini doesn't do stuff that doesn't make sense sometimes, but he hasn't really had the chance to be the leader for of the like the leader of the country for
Yeah.
any like ever. Like he has always, even when he was with Movimento Cinque Stelle, even now he has been in
Yeah.
government, but in a weird way he was in government while still playing the opposition. Like
Mm,
even now he's part of a government, but if you see
yeah.
the way
What he does and who he speaks to, it's completely different than what his real role is really in
yeah,
government, isn't it?
he's
Yeah.
literally the opposition. He complains
Yeah.
about the government and everything. Like, dude,
Yeah.
you're part of the government. Shut up.
Yeah.
but the thing is, it works because he's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I
because
mean,
he isn't the face of the government.
yeah.
It's Mario Draghi right now. It's not
It's
him.
Mario Draghi, exactly. All the
So
decisions end with him, of course.
what
But
Salvini would need in the future is to, if you give him the power to lead the country,
mm,
you will probably have what happens most of the time in Italy, that we
mm,
get bored of the new leader after a while because the new leader can't
yeah.
do anything of what he promised because he can't. How would you
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they
The
always
Italian system at work again.
well, the thing is, to get elected you need to promise the impossible.
Yeah.
Then you get elected, you can't deliver the impossible, so someone else is
Yeah.
going to promise the impossible that you can't deliver. So, oh,
Yeah.
let's go to the new
Yes.
guy, and that's the way.
Yeah, that's also the case with the far right now, right? Because they're nibbling at Salvini's heels at the moment. The Brotherhood of Italy, wasn't it?
Yes.
And other parties are starting to emerge and starting to go. That's a lovely bit of voter, influence you got there. Mind if I take it?
Though the thing is
And
that they are allies. That's really
yeah,
important.
yeah, but they no, they pretend to be allies.
Oh, well, the
As
thing
far
is,
as far as it goes in Parliament. But if you look on the streets,
no, they are
campaigning and how do you profile yourself
like
versus the other
they
party?
compete against each other,
Mm, yeah,
but then when it comes to when the elections are done, let's say,
yeah.
they are
Then they
allies.
would team up.
They,
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
work
They would team
together,
up as a government. Yeah.
and they just take at face value who is the bigger one and who is the
Hmm.
smaller one, and based on that, they have their balance. But that's something that the right can usually do better than the
Yeah,
left, which is
that's true.
they can work together even if they don't agree on everything, but
Mm.
they prefer to.
Yeah, the right
The
has
thing
a lot
is,
more cohesion than the left, doesn't it? I
because
mean,
they, like, if you are on the right, you might hate what the other right parties do,
yeah,
but you hate the left in power a lot more.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they are really good at working together.
yeah. I always think, right-wing governments never last long though, because what they've done is, like you said, they've promised the impossible, and that's as far right as most people are willing to go. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
go, oh no, I won't go completely Nazi today. So the silent majority usually pulls away from them. and leaves them stranded very much. I think that's also interesting to see happening. But I'd like to also hear from everyone who's listening. Get on the forum Godfrey and tell us how that is in your country. In the Netherlands, it's quite different. We actually have people with power that can do stuff. The buck actually ends at them and shit. So it's a little bit different than the Italian system. In that
Well,
when
the thing is,
decisions are made,
the Italian
they
system.
stay made. You know what I mean?
The thing is, the Italian system has been made with the idea of having it. The thing is, it was made after fascism was defeated, and the idea was to make something where it's as hard as possible for one dictator to rule it all.
Yeah,
So we have institutions, we have systems in place
mm,
which make it really hard to change stuff, especially if you want to change a lot of important
yeah.
stuff. Like it can be done, it's not like it can't be done,
But it
but
would take a constitutional change, basically,
it's not just the
or
constitution though.
no, it's the equivalent of, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but even if you change the constitution, for example, which obviously you can do, but it's not even just that. There are institutions other than the constitution. There are civil servants. There is the public
Yeah, the
sphere.
judiciary.
There is
Yeah,
the associations. We have quite a strong.
there is the military.
Now, even if you, without even going that far, for example,
Yeah.
this is something that isn't as much prominent in other countries,
Yeah.
especially outside of Europe. Like we have a really strong third sector, I think it's called, the third world, whatever it's called. The associations not just the labor ones, but of on literally anything. We have, for example, literally each town has its own at least a few associations
Yeah.
within it that do stuff, and
Mm.
they usually then group up together, and they can hear them at the national level as well. So as I said, it's really really hard if you want to change something. Like you
Yeah.
will have a lot of people to convince. It can be
To
done,
yeah.
but
But
obviously,
it's gonna be a Herculean task to get it done. So
yes.
the chances are, because it's Italy, it won't get done.
And
Is
then
what you're saying. It would
yes.
take too long, and people would catch on, and then vote them out, basically, or
The thing is,
something would
maybe
change in the
it can't
relationship
even
between one
be.
or the other.
The thing it
Yeah.
works even if you want to do something good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it.
Mm.
The thing is, you can't promise the moon because to
No.
reach the moon, you can't. If you say I want to change something that is hard to change, but you
Yeah.
don't tell people that it probably is going to take at least 5 to 10 years before you actually
Yeah.
do, and you say like I can do it in a week.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
after a
The
week, they
Donald Trump infrastructure projects
yeah,
come to
pretty
mind.
pretty much exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly.
and you have to that you have to add that Italians are
Yeah.
somewhat conservative, but
Yeah. Well,
not just in
yeah.
I mean in the economical term meaning as
Mm.
well, as in
Yeah.
Italians like to have their money not be worthless. So they
Yeah.
don't want, like as I said, for example, when
Yeah, that's a deep-seated fear in Italy as well, because of the lira and the history with that, of course.
well, to be
Well,
fair, Italy has never gone bankrupt.
yeah,
Meanwhile, Germany did it twice in the last 100
yeah, yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah.
So,
That's true.
there are
That's true.
people that
That's
are
true.
better
Yeah,
than
we did it
others.
once, I think. The
Yeah,
Dutch.
we never
So
did. So, you might
we
learn
invested
something from
everything in
us.
tulip stocks, and the tulip stocks kind of no.
But
We did a YOLO. We
for
did a YOLO, guys. That's
for example, when Salvini and Di Maio wanted to appoint someone that was against the euro,
yeah,
you you saw
yeah. It
how
didn't work, did it? No.
it didn't really go anywhere. And even
No.
just the idea, like even when people are you can see people being angry at the euro sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, not really lately because but even when that happened, it really doesn't take long when if it like becomes somewhat of a serious topic,
Yeah.
you start seeing media going, okay, that this would happen, your savings would die, your
Would
house would be
die,
worthless,
so maybe not a good idea, and then they get a kick,
which is the
basically.
issue.
Yeah.
Italians, pretty much every Italian has savings. So even the thing is, even when we are in like in bad situations, economically speaking,
Yeah.
Italians have something to lose.
Yeah.
Even like if you have an house, you have savings in some other way.
Mm.
It's and this is different compared to a lot of other countries.
Yeah.
And if you have savings and they tell you that you could quit the euro and all your savings are worthless, you
Mm.
know, you say,
Yeah.
yeah, I like my savings.
Yeah.
And that's why it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot harder to change
To
something
change things
economical
like
like that.
yeah,
But
especially leaving the euro would be devastating for
yes,
Italy, and that would not happen, basically. And that's what who was it again? Was that Renzi that was
what?
that wanted to destroy the euro, or
No,
what was his name again? I can't remember.
no. Well, Salvini wanted to quit it, and his
Yeah.
right hand, but it's
Yeah,
not
but
like
before that, he got some professor in, and then he was kind of kicked out. I can't remember. That's anyway. That's ancient history now. You know.
yeah, you know how it is here.
Yeah.
We change governments.
Profile mentions, by the way, that he saw a good summary on the current left and right ideology and dichotomy in the Western world, and that's that the basic philosophies are that the left hates markets and the right hates the left.
Yes.
Everything else comes and goes. You know, yes, yes, but you know, 40 years ago, the right-wing position was that migration is good. Now it's migration is bad. 40 years ago, the left-wing position was that the EU is bad. Now it's EU is good.
Well, not really.
So yeah, there's
The
degrees
left,
in there, I
the
think.
actual
Yeah.
left, it thinks the EU is bad,
Mm.
but it's no one cares what the real left thinks
Yeah,
because
no one cares what the communists think in
no
Europe.
one votes
Don't
for
worry.
them. So no one cares.
Yeah, the hardcore, you know, commies out there. Sorry. By the way, if you're a hardcore commie listening to this, we're centrists, right? This has to be made clear, right? Both me and Dante, for a little bit left, a little bit right. You know, as long as it's within a certain, you know.
As long as you are within a certain delta from the center.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's so you know we're definitely not either one or the other. Um, but I mean,
By the way, I don't even know if it's really true that the right is against migration, which
yeah,
is like, yes, socially speaking, it is
yeah,
against migration, but
yeah,
economically speaking, not that much.
mm,
It's not
true.
like our societies don't use migrants to
Yeah,
fuel
it's
our
just what kind of
economies.
migrants, you know? Are they internal migrants? Are they migrants from certain countries like Japan or, you know, another, you know, USA
Or
or, you
like,
know,
migrants that are
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
slaves for that work for us and pick
Yeah,
potatoes.
exactly. You know, I mean, you get enough of them on the boat, so, you know, you don't have to worry about them, but we do
Yeah,
have to,
the thing is,
you know,
it's not like we
yeah.
don't use them. It's not like
Exactly. You know, it's, you know,
like we
that's,
might
that's
so
just,
we
that's just
might
Europe,
say
people.
things, but it's not like, I mean, it is Europe. We like slavery, you know. We still do it. We just have a different name. That's how it works here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, when you see as well, because it was a whole time. It was okay to rent people. I should say, you know, hire people to come from places like Poland or Romania, work here for the summer, picking fruit, and they were sometimes lived in abominable conditions for you know very little pay.
Yeah,
Now, of
we
course,
still do
because the
that.
EU is now developing, countries like the Netherlands have to look further afield for their,
Yes, but we
you know,
still
for
depend on
their
it.
picking labor, and that's when in our case the idea of migration good. You know, we do want the shops to be full of produce
Yeah,
and
that's
not
what I
have
said.
to make
It's not that like that true that the right doesn't want migration at all, because
Yeah.
I remember this was last year, I think, when
Mhm.
COVID was in full swing, and
Mhm.
no one could come here
Yeah.
because COVID, and we had the issue that we needed to find a way to get migrants to come here and pick up stuff from our fields, because otherwise they would just rot there.
Mm.
Obviously, we wouldn't literally starve to death because it's not that bad, but like it would have been quite a big hit. And
Yeah.
just the thing is, we are in societies that it's hard for us to go into famines,
Mm.
because Europe pays a lot into farming, and especially Italy. We really like to farm and have our own food
Mm.
to not die. But there is a difference between having enough food to not die and having
Mm.
every kind of food you want.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
even
You know, I mean that's basically it, isn't it? I mean, I can get you know, fresh tomatoes or you know, reasonably fresh tomatoes at any time of year.
yeah. Can you
You know,
though?
yeah, I can. Yeah.
Are they really good though? In the
Yeah, they're pretty
Netherlands,
good.
in the
Well, I
Netherlands.
mean, we no, we import them from Italy as well.
Yeah,
You
but by
know,
the time,
it's you know, it depends how much you want to pay, of course. You know, I mean, that's
yes, but
something that you decide for in the supermarket.
I
You know,
think
but you do have the choice.
I
You
think
know,
you don't
to buy the
understand.
nice juicy ones from Italy,
I
or
th-
you buy the ones that are just in the greenhouses in the Netherlands.
I think you don't understand the difference between picking a tomato and literally eating it after 5 minutes and having it
Mm.
go all the way to the Netherlands. There is a difference in taste.
Yeah, yeah, that is there is a quite a difference there, but you know, the longer it's in cold storage, the worse, of course.
Yeah,
You
so
know, but when you get local produce, it's fine, you know, to get
yes,
that.
yes,
But
if
in the
it's
winter,
local,
you can't. So then you have to make the choice. You know, do you go for the ones that have been, you know, chilled and driven in from Italy within 24 hours, or do you go for the ones that have been chilled and come from the greenhouses within 24 hours? You
the
know,
solution
so
is really simple. If you leave
yeah,
the
go for the
Netherlands,
Italian ones. Yeah,
just go for
yeah.
Italy and don't look back.
Oh,
Uh,
great man.
so let's get back on topic for a sec here.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's see. You know what? I think we could, since we the biggest issue has been Orban and LGBT rights.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about something that happened in Italy around that
Mm,
topic, which is really funny.
yeah.
So you might know there is a country called the Vatican, which is inside Italy,
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
and there is a law that Italy is trying to, like, we are working on. It has
Mm-hmm.
passed on the lower house, and is not. It has not been voted on yet in the upper house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a law to further protection against discrimination towards LGBT people and people with disabilities. As far as it's like we had an old law which was only about race and
Yeah, yeah. Which mentioned it specifically by race or by
yeah.
rather
I
than
mean the idea
like wide.
the idea is still
Mm,
there. It's not like we have no law at all, but it's a bit
mm,
more. Obviously, back then we didn't. It would have been a bit.
yeah,
It would have been expecting too much to have laws that say LGBT back in the
yeah,
days, you know.
exactly.
But the idea is to add those parts and to even and that's like the more, I think it's nice to further those protections in a more
Mm,
clear manner. But to be honest, I don't really think that's the biggest part. The biggest part is that there is going to be somewhat of an education in schools about LGBT issues. It's
mhm.
not going to be like a big thing. It might be like 1 day per year where they
Yeah,
do a
yeah,
small
yeah.
lesson, whatever. And there are no funds. It's really small,
Mm,
but it is. Uh, the thing is, even if it's a really small thing, if you want to change how society works, you can try on adults, but you can't really do much there. Meanwhile, if you uh, explain to kids, it's a lot easier to have them grow up.
Yeah, respecting
Respecting it.
LGBT rights basically is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
which,
Yeah.
by the
So
way, as I
what
said,
does the
is
Vatican have to do with this though? Because the Vatican is of course the
so
origin of this story.
obviously, since as I said, it this protects LGBT people. There is in this protection the idea that you can't further hate towards people, like you can't call for violence towards gay people or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even if the law in itself explicitly says that you can still say whatever you want, you can say I hate gay people as long
Yeah.
as you don't then ask people to hurt them. So
Mm.
it's not like you can't say whatever you want,
Yeah. As
but
long as it doesn't infringe on the rights and properties of other people.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not like it's you don't really infringe the freedom of expression. Let's
Mm.
call it that way. It's not that,
Yeah.
but
But it does basically irk the Vatican because
because
you know.
the thing is, the Vatican uses that excuse as in we are afraid that we saying some stuff might be so as like going against this law, which it would not. It's not. They would
Mm.
still be protected. But the other issue is that, as I said, schools would have
Mm.
to have at least one lesson probably per
Yeah.
year or something like that. It wouldn't be anything too big, but
Mm.
they would have at least to talk about these issues,
Yeah.
and that would be every school, which would
Mm.
be Catholic school as well. There are some schools that are run by priests and stuff.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
there
Religious
aren't many.
institutions and
I don't really know how
yeah.
many there are, but there are some, and the Vatican really, really wants to not have to do that. So
Yeah.
they went and wrote a letter into one of the main papers,
Mm.
and it was really interesting. They were so we have bilateral deals with them, which
Mm.
started with the Patti Lateranensi, which was back with Mussolini, back in the days, and then in the 80s there was it changed,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
that's what we are using now. So they said this law is in breach of that pretty much,
Mm.
which is not true.
Yeah.
And the best part was Mario Draghi in Parliament
Mm.
saying, it goes without saying, but we are a secular country. So
Yeah. 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 I
it
did
was
hear that. Yeah.
it was quite. He didn't go all out. He didn't say so fuck off Vatican, but it was
Yeah.
pretty much
We
that.
are a secular country.
So
Yeah, yeah,
fuck off.
yeah, yeah. That was the quote of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Across the whole EU, basically, which is a quite a good one, to lay on the Vatican
Which
when it
I
starts
think
getting uppity,
the
you
thing
know.
is, I do wonder because
Yeah,
I think the Vatican might have hurt themselves with this.
yeah.
Because even I know,
They
like,
hurt themselves in the confusion, basically. Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, they could have went on doing their usual tactic of having priests further their narrative and have
Mm,
that way change people's minds, have them vote
yeah.
the way they want. But
Mm,
going about it this way, trying to
mm,
influence how Italy should do stuff in such a direct way, like we are the Vatican, we're telling you to not do this.
mm.
I think and I hope that it kind of rubs people in the wrong way because fuck you, Vatican.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
like even and so I hope we I don't know we get this law to pass because honestly it's weird if we don't get
Mm,
it done relatively soon. Even and if they try to add amendments or whatever, it's never going to see the light of the day,
Yeah,
because it would have to go back to the other house, and then the
mm.
whole process would
Up and
be
down,
quite
and then it
long.
gets lost basically.
And
Yeah,
by the
yeah, yeah. I
time,
see what
and
you
then the government would fall by because
mean.
it's not like it has many days left, like
Yeah.
a few, sure, but not too many.
So that would be it for that bit of legislation,
Yeah, that
basically.
would
Yeah,
never
yeah,
come to
yeah,
life. So the only way for that to come to life is to be approved the way it is.
yeah.
And
Does it look like it's going to pass though through the second house, the
the
upper
thing
house?
is, it's not like we don't have a majority in the Senate for
Mm.
that mostly, but
Yeah,
it is you would need at Lega to at least abstain, I guess, because
mm.
if you have you can do it, but if you have the government split on a law that proposes,
Yeah.
it's not the best,
Not good, not good optics in the first case, and secondly, I mean, they of course, I mean, how much leeway do senators have in the upper house in Italy to vote the way that they want to? I mean, that's also the question.
Not much.
Is there a way that Salvini can pressure them to vote one way or the other, or will they vote with their conscience? You know, that's also of course. I mean, that's always the thing that you have with the upper houses. It's very hard to kind of get a good view on what's going on there, you know.
No, they follow the party quite to a T. So that's not an issue
Mm.
there.
Okay, yeah.
And it can
Yeah, in the
happen
Netherlands it's
sometimes.
much different, you know. We have the upper house is very dynamic.
Anyway, it's not elected,
Um,
is it? It's not directly elected,
mm,
I think, right?
no, it's not. By, well, we do have elections for it, but you know, it's by the number of seats that the party gets in a certain election. So, you know, it's not individuals that you vote for.
Yeah,
As it were,
it's
you vote for the party, and the party decides which individuals go. You
yeah,
know?
obviously, yes,
Yeah,
to some degree, but
yeah,
I mean, you still vote for the party then there. It's not like
yeah.
representatives of a state or
No, you do
something like
vote for
that.
the parties. For the upper house elections, we do have them. So, you know,
Okay.
they don't come from the lower house or the wins from that lower house or anything like that.
I mean,
So,
in
but
Italy,
interesting discussion anyway on Italy, Italy's politics there. And I think maybe we should get more people in to also weigh in how that goes in their countries. I mean, I've said it before in the other subject.
yeah,
Um,
obviously.
People, please comment on the Discord server or on Twitch. Let us know.
The thing
Um,
is,
how it is in your country. Is there an upper house election? How do they manage the lower house cases? It's always an interesting field.
I think one of the reasons why I brought up this issue here,
Mhm.
I think it's interesting how the Vatican chose to use like this nuclear option, let's call it that way,
Yeah.
when it is a law to protect citizens, Italian citizens, and they didn't really do anything ever
Mm.
before. You know, I think there
Yeah.
were instances where they could have done something.
Mm.
Like I don't know if they really cared about migrants, or I don't know when Mussolini
Yeah.
was doing
Yeah.
stuff, they might have done something there too. Said, it's not really
Yeah.
Catholic of you, Mr. Mussolini,
Yeah.
but
But they didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now they do choose that nuclear option,
yeah,
is what you're saying.
they choose it. But the thing is, and this is the part that really annoys me. They care
Mm.
only if you say that gay people have rights,
Mm.
but everything else, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Which is, not in Italy.
Yeah. Which is very un-Catholic, to be honest. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
goes. The thing is, there's the Pope that is supposed to be a
Yeah.
bit better, and I think to some degree he is. This one he's a bit better, and but even then. it's
Yeah.
not like he's doing. I know it's not that easy to change the Vatican, but he is literally the
Yeah.
absolute power.
The absolute monarch. He can do whatever the hell he wants, you know. It's
Yes, I mean,
yeah.
I would imagine that if he does too much, he might end up shooting himself on the back of his head. I wouldn't put it past the Vatican, but still, he has some amount of
Well, there's
power.
that series on Netflix called The Young Pope, which is quite interesting. You know, which is basically someone like someone like you, in the position of being the Pope, and he does try to change things, and things don't really go his way at all. You know,
I mean, it's not
but
easy,
yeah,
obviously.
another good one is by the way, if you're interested in the Vatican on Netflix, is The Two Popes, which is the meeting of Benedict and his predecessor. What's his face? Darth Sidious. You know, and how different they were basically, and how different their backgrounds were as well. So you know, the Young Pope, which is a series, and the Two Popes, which is a movie. So if you have any time, people try to get a hold of those because they're quite good. So yeah. Um, anyway, you know, we have 15 minutes left of this
Uh,
late night broadcast.
yes, so in the
Um,
title, you wrote EUCO and Euro. What do you want
yeah.
to talk about in the Euro?
Well, I want to talk about the Euro 2020s, of course. You know, the football is on, and while I'm totally not a football fan or someone who knows anything about football whatsoever beyond the basic rules, I find myself strangely drawn to it because you know it's a European tradition to make fun of your friends and trounce your enemies. So you know, I just wanted to have like a little bit of time to talk about that. So you know what really got to me is that so far all the dictator countries have been eliminated. So Russia's out, Hungary is out, Poland is out,
And
and um, well, uh,
Turkey.
Austria is out now too.
I think you forget
So
you missed Turkey there. You know.
yeah, Turkey, but you know they don't matter. I mean, you know,
Yeah, but
let's be honest.
yeah, but you know, I think it
You
was still fun to see Turkey lose
know?
3-0. You know.
Yeah. It
But then
was a
again,
3-0 victory and a very deserved one, to be honest, by Italy at the time.
yes, it was
You
deserved.
know,
But it's
yeah.
really nice to see. Like I can imagine Erdogan there crying. Like it fills my heart with joy.
Yeah.
Which is why we like to you watch the Euros.
Yeah,
Though
exactly,
the thing
exactly. You know.
is, unfortunately, I mean, it is a bit better than it might have been, but it's still not as good as it. It could have been even better than it is because I
Yeah.
don't know if this is maybe it's more of an Italian thing, but I would imagine it's been done in other countries around Europe. But when there's the Euros or when there's the World Cup, but honestly, it happens more with the Euro because of the times. Like when it's the Euro, it's usually like the games. It's usually at 9 or 6 that time
Mm.
there, so it's easier to mm, party pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's easy to party.
The thing is, it happens a bit less now because of COVID, but every
Yeah,
time before, what would happen is like for if there's the game at 6 or at 9, you would have
yeah.
bars and restaurants or whatever like organize like watching parties. So you would have
Exactly. Yeah, come here, drink our beer, and watch the game,
yeah, you
basically.
drink and maybe
Yeah.
you eat as well, but it's not like a full on restaurant
No.
meal. It's simply like maybe they make I don't know some kind of pasta and everyone hits. You get one plate of pasta and you
Yeah,
watch the game and you get drunk and you
yeah.
yell and stuff.
It's to lay a foundation for your drinking, of course. You know the pasta.
Yeah,
You
it's
first
like
eat the pasta, and then you know your stomach is you know it's settled,
yeah.
and then you know you top it off with some good wine or some beer, of course. You know
So
that's as
like
is European tradition. You know. I think all our countries have that, by the way, that drinking tradition. You know,
yeah, I
first
think
having a meal. drinking at home and then going out, because it's cheaper.
Well, we
Yeah.
have the thing is in Italy we have the aperitivo thing, which is would be translated as happy hour, but it's
Mm,
it's not the way it's done in Italy is not too as much of a thing elsewhere. The idea
mm,
is around 6, more or less. You go to
yeah.
a pub or a bar, whatever, and you have an
Mm,
aperitivo, which would be a drink and some things to eat.
yeah.
So it might be a slice of pizza, some slices of pizza, or some bruschette, whatever. There
Yeah.
are some stuff that goes with the drink that you're having, one or two or three, and the idea is that people go there like it's a like a gathering. You go there, you have a drink with your mates, your people you know, like your friends and stuff.
Mm.
And the Euros are like an excuse to do that.
Yeah. There's an excuse to go out and have a good time with your mates, basically, and
Yeah,
eat some food, and yeah.
because of COVID, it's not as much as it used to be.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
you can't have like, I mean, earlier you would have like the main squares
Mm,
literally doing that for
yeah.
summer here in the towns. Wherever you went, there was like someone setting up something.
Yeah. Yeah, in the Netherlands, it's quite different, to be honest, because you know what we do, because we have colder weather here. What happens is it used to all happen indoors, in tiny little cafes, because there's not much space
But it's
in the
summer.
centers of the cities and stuff,
It's
you know.
summer.
And you just see, I mean, now with COVID, and the distancing still being in effect. By the way, today is a memorable day. As an aside, that the Netherlands has 0 COVID deaths today. So yay,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
yay
nice.
us. Um, and it's they we've gotten to the point here where the cafes can't afford it anymore. There's going to be massive closures in the entertainment industry because of it, and a lot of people have also kind of moved on to a different kind of life. They now spend more time at home, more time online. I think that also really affects people here. So
I don't know.
cafes and places are having a really hard time right now. You know,
But
but
yeah, the thing I don't understand is the Euros happen in summer. It's not cold outside. It's summer.
yeah, but it's still rainy. We've
Oh
had
yeah.
thunderstorm today here, so.
Yeah, I mean I
Yeah.
forgot you live in a shithole.
Yeah, we live on the North Sea, not
Not the good
yeah, the good sea. We live in the bad sea, okay?
So yeah,
We live in a nice, quiet part of the bad sea, but we still live on the bad sea.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
okay.
bad sea where you got like things ice and Russians and Brits and
Yeah, that's not
you know how
really.
it goes.
It's not
So this is something that we have to watch out for here.
not the best.
Yeah, and it makes us want to stay inside as well. It's a very the industry here only works in the summer, and if it does, it's you'd have to be lucky to get a good day. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, with everything that
here
goes
it
on.
hasn't
Yeah, I
been.
know.
We haven't seen
Stop it,
rain in a
Dante.
month. I don't remember what rain
Yeah,
looks like, and
I
we would
know.
really like it. That's the best part.
Yeah. You want some of ours, and we want some of yours.
I mean, it is helpful every once in a while,
Yeah.
you know.
I think I'm gonna buy a diesel car now. Just to just to make sure that it equalizes a little bit. So.
You should.
Oh dear. Yeah. Anyway,
So
I think we've made it to the end of the night, my friend.
yeah, I
Um,
think so.
yeah, it's been a weird night. It's nice to talk to everyone, of course.
Yeah, once again,
In the meanwhile,
this was a
yeah,
bit of a weird episode. Like it lasted less and it was later, but Italy was playing, so
yeah, yeah.
there are
That's
some
that's just how it is.
priorities.
Hence the title. So anyway, if you're more interested in other things, you can always look us up on Twitch or on the YouTube channel, and we can see you then. See you next week.
Yeah. So bye bye.
Bye. Good night.